The recent development involving the Pentagon and the China military blacklist has drawn significant attention in global political and financial circles. The situation revolves around the United States Department of Defense, commonly known as the Pentagon, and its handling of a list that identifies Chinese companies allegedly connected to China's military. The unusual aspect of this case is that the blacklist was reportedly withdrawn twice within a span of 2 days, creating confusion and raising questions about policy consistency, diplomatic strategy, and market impact. To understand the issue, it is important to first explain what the China military blacklist is. The blacklist, formerly linked to Section 1260H of the National Defense Authorization Act, identifies Chinese companies that the U.S. government believes are tied to the People's Liberation Army. The armed forces of China play a central role in the country's defense and strategic industries. When companies are added to this list, they may face restrictions that limit U.S. investment, partnerships, and business dealings with American entities. The goal behind the list is to prevent U.S. capital and technology from indirectly supporting China's military modernization. The controversy began when the Pentagon updated its blacklist by adding or revising certain Chinese firms. Shortly afterward, the list was unexpectedly withdrawn. Then, within 2 days, it was reportedly withdrawn again or revised in a way that effectively removed certain names. Such rapid changes are highly unusual in matters related to national security and foreign policy. Typically, decisions involving blacklists and sanctions go through extensive legal review and interagency coordination before being announced publicly. The repeated withdrawal suggested either administrative confusion, legal challenges, or intense internal debate within the U.S. government. One possible reason for the withdrawal could be legal pressure. In recent years, several Chinese companies have challenged their inclusion on U.S. blacklists in American courts. Some firms have argued that the government failed to provide sufficient evidence to justify labeling them as military-linked entities. In previous cases, courts have temporarily blocked or reversed blacklist decisions due to procedural issues. If similar legal concerns emerge in this situation, the Pentagon may have chosen to withdraw the list to avoid immediate court intervention or reputational damage. Another possible factor is diplomatic sensitivity. U.S.-China relations have been tense for years, involving disputes over trade, technology, Taiwan, and security in the South China Sea. However, at the same time, both countries maintain extensive economic ties. Sudden changes to blacklists can impact global financial markets, multinational corporations, and supply chains. If the list included major companies with significant global operations, the move could have triggered volatility in stock markets or concerns among investors. The rapid withdrawal might reflect efforts to prevent unnecessary market disruption. Political considerations may also have played a role. The Pentagon operates within a broader policy framework shaped by the White House, Congress, and other federal agencies. If there were disagreements among policymakers regarding the timing or scope of the blacklist, the decision to withdraw it twice could signal internal coordination issues. National security policy often involves balancing strategic competition with economic stability, and different stakeholders may prioritize different outcomes. The repeated withdrawal also raises questions about transparency and credibility. When the government announces a national security action and then reverses it quickly, it can create uncertainty for businesses and allies. Companies need clarity to make investment decisions, while international partners look for consistency in U.S. policy. Frequent changes may weaken confidence in regulatory processes and complicate compliance efforts for multinational firms operating in both the U.S. and China. From China's perspective, such developments may be viewed as evidence of inconsistency in American policy. Chinese officials have frequently criticized U.S. blacklists and sanctions as tools of economic containment. The withdrawal of the list, especially if done twice, could be interpreted as a sign that the measures were either premature or not legally solid. However, it does not necessarily indicate a broader shift in U.S. strategy toward China. The overall trajectory of U.S.-China relations remains defined by strategic competition, particularly in advanced technology sectors such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and telecommunications. For investors, the situation highlights the growing intersection between geopolitics and financial markets. When companies are added to or removed from military-related blacklists, their stock prices can fluctuate significantly. Institutional investors, pension funds, and asset managers must carefully monitor regulatory announcements to ensure compliance with U.S. law. The sudden withdrawal of the blacklist may have temporarily eased pressure on certain Chinese firms, but it also underscored the unpredictability of regulatory risk in cross-border investments. In addition, this incident reflects the broader challenge of defining what constitutes a military-linked company in China's system. Unlike in some countries where the military and private sector are clearly separated, China's civil-military integration strategy encourages cooperation between commercial firms and defense institutions. As a result, determining the exact nature of a company's ties to the military can be complex. The Pentagon must rely on intelligence assessments, public filings, and other sources of information, which may not always be clear-cut or legally sufficient for enforcement actions. The double withdrawal may also prompt calls for improved coordination within the U.S. government. Clearer communication between the Department of Defense, the Treasury Department, and other relevant agencies could help avoid confusion in future actions. Policymakers may need to refine the criteria used to designate companies and ensure that decisions are supported by robust legal documentation before public announcement. In conclusion, the Pentagon's decision to withdraw the China military blacklist twice in 2 days represents an unusual and noteworthy event in U.S.-China relations. It highlights the complexity of national security policy in an interconnected global economy. While the exact reasons behind the repeated withdrawal may involve legal, diplomatic, or administrative factors, the episode underscores the challenges of managing strategic competition with China in a way that is both effective and consistent. Moving forward, governments, businesses, and investors will likely pay close attention to how the United States refines its approach to regulating economic ties with companies believed to be connected to the People's Liberation Army, and whether similar policy reversals occur in the future.